Welcome back to the break room. With news of a possible Deadpool delay, we thought it might be good to revisit one of our favorite versions of the show, the MCU State of the Union. And folks, the union is strong. Okay?
Mr. Speaker!
Knock on the door. You have to knock on the door.
You're claiming my time.
Claim my time.
Tommy's gonna sit behind me and just tear up my script, I think.
Oh, wait, you gotta do Tommy.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
Gator time.
Yeah, go Gators. Go Gators. I'm Brandon Barrick, and joining me today, we got Erik Voss.
Hi, everybody.
We have Tommy Bechtold.
Oh, so glad to be with my favorite audience on YouTube. You know, sometimes they make us they make us do videos for those piss bags on Twitch. I can't stand our Twitch audience.
Come on.
I love YouTube. Get to speak to our YouTube audience, the people that really get it. You know, the people we can really connect
It's not
with.
gonna change any comments.
What's that?
It's not gonna change any comments.
I was told our comments were disabled years ago.
And next to Tommy, we got the always wonderful Jay Washington.
They brought me back, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't know what was gonna happen because Tommy was gonna be here, and he was like, "He can't have me too many times on this
It's
show."
because they just talk about your biceps and I get self-conscious. Speaking of self-conscious, I'm consciously objecting to the greedy studio system that is depriving our actors and writers of fair wages.
Right.
So, of course, we're going to talk about, movies and things like that. But this is not promotion. This is editorial commentary. Jay and I are both members of the Screen Actors Guild, proud members.
Yes.
And you know what? We stand on the side of the actors and the writers.
Look, I've been on the
here.
picket lines getting this strike body 20.
Zaslav, Jay's getting in strike shape. He's having a strike boy summer. I'm busy over here reading Zaslav. Zaslav wants to just make shows about men on fishing boats, okay? That's all. He's like, can we get more men hurling nets into the ocean? Hours of men chucking nets into the ocean.
Is it starring David Allen Greer and David Wayans? Welcome to Men on Fishing.
Now that's a deep cut.
No,
That's a deep cut.
that would be great.
A show that talks about fishing from a male point of view.
I have a feeling Zaslav would be like, actually, just put it on the Void, build a boat on the Void, and we'll AI everyone in. Anyway, we are not going to promote any struck work, but we will talk about things that are coming up. And by the way, most of what we're going to talk about are things that are delayed because of the greedy, selfish studios that won't even give 0.02% of their yearly salaries. We're not even talking bonuses. We're talking yearly salaries, which is what the Screen Actors Guild and the Writers Guild of America are asking for. Pay the creative people what they're worth, or you're gonna end up with weird, lifeless, emotionless, robotic scripts. More Roland Emmerich movies.
And I think the worst of those greedsters is Netflix.
Ooh.
Netflix with their lame titles that are just regurgitating Amblin classics from the 80s and repackaging it with poor forms of Timothy Chalamet. Who would ever wear clothing, for example, and not realizing what we would be talking about at this particular moment, celebrating the flagship program of such a greedster streaming service. Wow, what are you wearing?
I'm wearing my Swiftie shirt.
He's wearing,
Shouts out to the Blurs. I'm wearing my phenomenally blurred sweatshirt.
My phenomenally blurred shirt must be in the mail because I haven't gotten it yet. Now, Taylor,
In this man.
your face. Taylor gave $100,000 bonuses to each of her truck drivers, union truck drivers, who have been driving on the Eras tour. So Taylor is for the unions, by the unions, of the unions. So we support Taylor Swift.
That's right.
Also, we're going to get to nerdriot.shop later, but you buy one of these shirts, you're sticking it to the studio anyway because we keep all the money.
It's true. It's true. So we got a lot to cover in the MCU State of the Union. A lot of changes are going on. And I think the biggest one we got to talk about first is Deadpool 3. Okay? It seems like it's been a big week so far for Deadpool 3. On Monday, we talked about Emma Corrin's possible role as Professor X's sister, Cassandra Nova. But today, we have to talk about the possible delay of Deadpool 3. And we're saying possible, but this movie's probably getting delayed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
due on Valentine's Day, right?
No, I think they had already pushed it back to May.
pushed it back
It was
to May.
originally.
Is there something else coming out on Valentine's? Or Blade?
There was going to be Blade, but
Yeah.
that's also that's gone.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
It's all part of the State of the Union. So Disney published their quarterly earnings report, and many noticed the lack of Deadpool 3 in their upcoming theatrical release schedule. I think we have that graphic to show you here. You can see the calendar runs from September through next June. Okay, and on there,
graphics.
yeah, on there are some stuff we expected to
All
see.
of Us Strangers.
A Haunting in Venice, still on track. Thank God. Somebody dead.
Snow White is still coming in March.
You know what? She's not with little people anymore, so I'm out. The Haunting in Venice full-size movie theater display at the Regal Sherman Oaks, which I was vacationing in California recently.
Okay.
And someone cold-cocked it and punched a hole into it.
Who did they punch?
No, it's just
in the
it's
hole.
just a skull with beautiful lipstick. Is like the Haunting in Venice. It's like it's a skull that's kind of a moon, and then in the front it has like a more fully developed mouth with makeup on it. Somebody punched that, and who is that mad at Kenneth Branagh that they were like, you know what? This movie coming out angers me.
Yeah.
So what they did is they rewatched Wild Wild West.
That's right.
And they were like, you were Dr. Arliss
Yes,
Lovelace,
right.
and just punched it.
They just hold a grudge.
Nobody watched Death on the Nile, so we know it couldn't have been that because
Yeah,
Armie Hammer ate all the profits.
A Haunting in Venice is not. A Haunting in Venice is not like a scary movie per se. It is one of those Agatha Christie.
Yeah, it's
Poirot.
but it does the marketing on that poster does make it look like a horror movie.
Right, it sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah,
But
Haunting
it's,
in Venice.
It is sadly not, but someone in Sherman Oaks was compelled to destroy via fist the cardboard
Cut out.
movie poster.
So, despite that destruction, that movie's still coming
Yeah,
out.
it's on-
The
it's
Marvels
on
is still on track for its original, well,
November
not original
10th.
release date, most recent release.
Yeah,
date.
but
November
November.
10th, although I'm sad to say, if we don't resolve this labor issue, I'm going to have to cancel my Marvel's themed birthday party. And that's going to break
That
my
would be a
heart.
real shame.
Which one were you dressing as, though?
I'm going to dress as any of them.
No, you were telling us.
I'm going to get my Brie Olsen weight. I'm going to lose my weight down to Brie Olsen.
Larson?
Brie Larson. Brie Olsen's the porn star. Damn it. Damn it, I'm so close. I haven't called her Brie Olsen in a while. Hey, do me a favor, guys. Google Brie.
Do me a favor.
Do me a favor and Google Brie Olsen. Guys, I've been watching Star Wars Rebels for 48 straight hours, okay? I'm losing my mind.
Lucky man.
Yeah. That Chopper, he's not to be trusted.
So we have the Marvels coming up starring Brie Olsen. And we also,
that's a different Marvel.
That's a different Marvel coming out.
Trust me, what she does
It's
will make you
wondrous.
marvel. But
This-
it will
this
make you
ain't the
marvel.
Marvels, folks.
Speaking of triple DPs.
Man, taking the cinematic universe to a whole new levels.
that was just
Yeah,
for
you gotta watch all the streams to get my callback jokes. It's like an Easter egg we talked about.
Look like triple DP.
Yeah.
There were also on that upcoming schedule some other Fox properties, which are under Disney now, of course, like Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, great.
The fourth installment in the most recent
Glad original
Apes
stories are being
franchise.
told.
I think it's an original story.
Can we do Graves of the Planet of the Apes, where they're just all dead and we make another movie on top of their graves?
I think they should do a Haunting of the Planet of the Apes,
In
But it's
Venice.
not a horror.
In Venice.
but not a horror movie. So just a quick reminder, this movie may have seen the most shifts of any MCU movie in the multiverse saga so far.
Talk about Deadpool.
Talking about Deadpool, which was originally planned for November 2024. Then it was moved to September 2024 and finally May 3rd, 2024. So it's already had two moves.
Moves up.
Moves up, moves further away. And we also know that while this movie was filming when the writer's strike first started, and SAG was not yet on strike, but that meant they weren't allowed to, they had to shoot with the script they had at the time.
Yep.
Usually when you're filming a movie, you have a writer on set or multiple writers on set who are helping and you're making changes. This is also a movie with Ryan Reynolds, if you didn't know that, who loves to improvise on
So
set.
I gotta ask though.
Yeah.
Was there someone whose job was there to like a supervisor of the script, if you will?
okay.
But anytime Ryan went off on a riff, they were like, Mr. Reynolds, no.
Oh, you know there was.
No, I guarantee he let it rip, and they were like, all right, guys. We'll
I don't know, because that's very risky. You have a lot of people there who, you have writers there, maybe not theirs, but other representation. Plus IATSE, I'm sure, would love to rat out anyone.
Or is there a secret
Breaking
that
strike
he
rules.
sucks at improvising, and all these things have been written the whole time?
he had an earpiece like
got
Johnny
an
Depp.
earwig.
He's like, they're like, Ryan, go ahead and improvise this line if you want. And he's like, all right, let's take the car to the fart mechanic. And they're like, Ryan, that has nothing to do with the movie.
He might have had
Canadian.
He might have had fellow Canadian Colin Mockery.
Oh, yeah.
With a little earpiece
Did you
feeding
go
him
back
lines.
to whose line is it anyway? Colin Mockery?
Yeah.
God damn, that's a good pull.
Their tour is
That's a
called,
good damn pull.
their tour is called Who's Live?
Oh, who's live
Live
anyways?
is it anyway?
Who's live?
Cute.
Which they have to do because they don't get residuals. Another reason why performers need to be striking right now. They don't. Dan Patterson steals all of their profits. I met Dan Patterson in real life when I used to work as a CBS page at the lot at TV City. Wasn't the kindest VIP that I checked in.
Oh, interesting.
And I was like, Dan Patterson, that guy is the executive producer of all the Whose Line Is It Anyway shows. He
all
gets
that money.
all the profit from repeat viewings of all these shows.
Wow.
Colin Mockery, Ryan Stiles, maybe Drew Carey because he was the producer.
I like the one the batch of episodes they used to air on Comedy Central from England.
Oh, yeah, the original
The
Who's
original
Line.
Who's Line.
Yeah.
I think it was called Whom's Line.
No, it's called Whose Q Is It Anyways, I believe. Thank you, Evan, for groaning loudly.
No, I like that. It's funny. I gave my handyman a list of jobs to do the other day,
yeah.
and he only did jobs 1, 3, and 5. I guess he's just a handyman who only does odd jobs.
Tommy, are they still selling Christmas trees?
You know what? We try to be professional around here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
Whatever.
you know what's crazy? The Christmas trees are already up at Big Lots.
Oh, yeah.
Which people, I swear, any store that has your Christmas decorations out, you need to be fought.
No, Jay, this is crazy.
No.
Big Lots has trees and they're half off right now.
I would fight
No, so
everybody in that damn Big
I
Lots.
bought the biggest tree they had.
What is wrong with you?
Just
You're a
listen.
part of this problem.
Jay, I
Don't
brought
buy
the biggest
this
tree they
shit.
had, and I took it to the guy
God damn it,
in
Tommy.
the at the checkout. The guy said, "This is a huge tree. Are you going to put it up yourself?" And I said, "No, probably in the living room."
I'm sorry, Jay. I created this monster.
What's going on?
This was the first time Tommy's ever told that joke, and I set him up for it. So back to Deadpool.
He was fucking waiting for the jokes.
Deadpool 3. So they had started production on this movie. The writer's strike started, and they kept filming with the script they had, not the script they deserved, the script they had. Ryan Reynolds not allowed to improvise. Hugh Jackman's not allowed to imprise.
No. And Hugh Jackman famously, I think, is all through 4 levels of UCB.
He only learned he only knew the first act of The Music Man and made up the second act every night.
I've got it from here.
I sells trumpets. That's all I need to know.
Like, this is now an Aaron Sorkin film where you must do every line as it is written. You can't change.
Yeah.
It's just, look, you knew it was going to happen, right?
They knew the strike was coming.
But also, the thing is with Deadpool, because he's under the mask most of the time, he can ADR it. For those who don't know what ADR is, that's the additional record where he just dubs over stuff. So he can do that. Because think about it, every time they shoot a scene, it isn't as cut as you see in the final product.
Sure.
It's always longer, so he can add stuff later. Which they may have done. That's probably why they filmed so much stuff. They were just like, we can ADR everything you would
This
say.
show's 5 hours long. We cut it down to 10 minutes.
Thank
to
goodness.
hours.
Thank
Thank
goodness.
Jesus. And I'm talking about Black Jesus. Shouts out Slim
That
Johnson.
is just Jesus, you know?
That is just Jesus.
You could just say Jesus. We know.
Just Jesus. Yeah, you
White Jesus was retired. He retired a long time ago.
White Jesus is out here with blue eyes, blonde hair.
Beautiful, blonde, white, blue-eyed Christ.
In the Middle East. Oh,
Where were you born? Jerusalem.
with
I was born in Bethlehem.
locks.
Yes.
Anyway, they could have.
Sunburned as shit every day.
Just saying, where was Jesus when that Montgomery fight was happening, right?
Yeah. Jesus was the champ.
He was on the main
White
line. He was
folding
telling
chair.
us, whoa, shouts out to the Montgomery people in folded chairs, which will now be illegal in Florida in 10 days.
We got to get these folding chairs out of school.
If you have a folding chair, is it technically sit your ground?
No, it's called have several seats, literally. But
several seats.
Shouts out to the anyway. But with Deadpool 3, with a movie like that, like I said, those scenes get filmed. You know what he can do later.
They can
So
film,
that's
yeah.
how you were able probably to keep filming. Just like we know we can just add this stuff later.
Yeah. They tried to film as much as they could, and then, of course, SAG went on strike.
And it was like, now you
stopped the
can't film
production.
anything. Film
Yeah, I think they did get in the more complicated production as quickly as they could. That's why we saw those leaked set photos because
Yes.
they didn't have time to set up security apparatuses to protect us from seeing that crap.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they got in a lot early. I think they got the more complicated productions in as early as they can so they could spend this other time doing VFX work. Good luck when they go on strike, though.
That's happening next.
It's happening next, and power to them too. They need
Finally, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, entertainment might have to just suck for a year and a half so that it can be good for the next 50 years, right?
Yeah.
And then the world will burn up, the oceans will be dry, and our skulls
You
will
were
be
doing
bleached.
so well at first.
Yeah.
You were on track, and then you just veered.
You know what? It's because this show's a bit of a riot for me. Speaking of which,
Oh.
before we get to the rest of the show, I want to talk about a company near and dear to my heart.
Oh, okay.
NerdRiot.shop. Oh. And we currently have these sporty little Star Wars shirts that are just cute as a button. I'm wearing a Kashyyyk Warriors, what we call a ringer tee. I used to wear a lot of ringer
This
tees.
one, like the Coruscant Troopers.
Coruscant Troopers.
I thought it said croissant at first.
Guys,
Croissant?
we are in what's known as sports haven right now. Baseball season is catching up. It's catching fire. It's the stretch run for the Major League Baseball playoffs. Yeah. I drank that huge coffee beforehand, and I'm struggling.
The coffee that you were talking so much shit about?
Yeah, it was good though. And then football season, preseason has begun. The regular season is, I believe,
Wait,
a
what
month.
preseason game I missed?
You missed the Hall of Fame game, Jets Browns.
I don't know when
Browns
you
defeated the Jets 21-16.
The Hall of Fame game? Do they just bring in like old ass football players? For
They
that one?
should. No, they just play
Just
it at
all the favorites play
just
for the
put,
team.
oh my God, Dick Butkus is dead.
It's a bunch of old men going, "Where am I?"
Guys, please, the ad read. So the Buffalo Bills start to just, but we've got baseball tees, we've got these regular tees, we've got regular T-shirts. They're so soft. My nipples are cradled in fine fabrics right now.
That's
I
great.
feel like $1,000,000.
Don't look at me when you talk
I
about
could
your
run a
nipples,
marathon. My nipples are so well
stop looking at
taken
me
care
talking
of
about your
right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool sports themed designs for these Star Wars characters. There also we'll have some exclusive Ahsoka shirts.
Yeah.
When that series drops
Guys,
later this month.
you know, you might want to get a couple of these shirts just in time for the Ahsoka drop and the new episodes of Wookiee Leaks coming out, guys. Which a couple of us on this panel may know a bit about. Now,
A boot?
so go to nerdriot.shop, join the riot, bring your torches, march for justice.
Torches.
Nerdriot.shop.
We don't do torches anymore.
We don't?
No.
Why did I buy all those tiki torches?
I don't know why you bought those, Tommy.
all
will not
all
replace
those
you?
email blogs I'm on said to get the torches. We're
Who will
ready to
not
march.
replace you, Tommy?
What?
Who would
Who will not replace me? I don't know.
You bought the tiki torch.
We're gonna find out on Monday who's gonna replace me, because I ain't gonna be here very long. No, nerdriot.shop. Buy a shirt, stick it to the studios, okay? Look at us. You buy this shirt, you think Disney gets 1 cent from this? They get none. You think I get 1 cent from it? I get none. But someone's gonna get some.
Don't antagonize them, please.
Jay, silence your phone. Nerdriot.shop.
My alarm and tell me to wake up from a nap. I'm sorry.
You know
Wake
what?
up, Jay.
Wake up, Jay. You're in a. You best start believing in ghost stories, Jay, because you're in one. All right.
Tell him Large Marge sent you.
Let's talk about a show I can't wait for,
Okay.
and there better be no bad news about.
Okay.
Echo.
Echo. Well, if you remember that handy dandy graphic we threw up earlier, there was something missing from it. Echo.
Something missing from it? Echo?
Yeah, Echo was not on that graphic.
Echo was not on that graphic.
Not on that graphic.
Not
Check
on
it
that
out.
graphic.
In a second. Yeah, there's no echo.
Now, you might say to yourself, oh, they've taken it off the schedule. What's happening? Also, we think this may not be complete. all the
Yeah,
way.
I think it may be a little inaccurate. I can't tell you how I know what might be inaccurate on there because it's insider privileged information, but there is something on this list that I know from per my sources might be moved.
Yeah.
I think that graphic might have been made by Robbie Iger, Bob Iger's son, as part of his first task for
At
Disney.
work.
He's like,
How young is this man?
7.5.
Bob.
I would make the graphic.
I want to be a graphic designer.
Bob, stop having kids. You're too old for that nonsense.
I can't. My seed must be girth.
Like, what do I put for Hulu? What do I put for Hulu?
I'm gonna replace you with a kid.
Chapek, take my son to the desert.
I don't want to go to the desert.
That graphic also, it only had dates for a little bit. It didn't have a date for Loki, but that's still coming out October.
We're right. We know that's we know that for sure is coming out.
Yeah.
It's a
October
trailer.
6th.
Just in time for Halloween.
October 6 meaning, Daddy.
No, Bobby, Robert, stop it.
Now they did
Bob Iger.
they didn't have Echo listed on that chart. The
They
last
didn't have Echo listed on that chart?
They didn't
they
have
did
Echo
not.
listed on that chart.
Yeah, finally, we're
there we
playing
go.
Yes
We're
and
playing the Echo game. They had originally announced it's going to drop all at once on November 29th of this year.
Oh, great. Just in time for Thanksgiving.
Just in time for
That's how you
Thanksgiving.
kill a holiday.
Some kid is going to make his dad devastated by being like, turn off the Lions game. We're binge
We're
watching
watching
Echo. My son, I have no son.
The hell with the turkey and the football. Give me Echo.
I mean, if you're having awkward conversations around the Thanksgiving table about politics, just turn on Echo.
Uncle Brandon's drunk again.
Just
turn on Echo.
Just turn on Echo.
Grandma's half naked in the kitchen. Turn on Echo.
Do you think?
And grab the tarp.
Do you think they're still gonna drop Echo on November 29th?
I think they've dropped
They
Echo
go all
long time
together.
ago.
The show will come out.
We've got some old graphics. I found some old. Find Echo.
Oh no!
I mean, look, let's just be honest. If you've watched Breakroom, you've heard all the stuff. It's been terrible. They've had to rewrite, reshoot, redo.
Yeah.
Everybody's been upset about it. It's not. No one asked for Echo. Okay, no one asked for Echo.
Some people ask for Echo.
Yeah.
That's about 3 people total. And
They
that
meant
was
the
all-
dolphin from the Delightful Video game.
Some people were asking for a Bad Batch character spinoff and didn't realize that Marvel would hear it and be like, "Oh, you want Echo?"
Ecker.
Why does your Echo sound like Medea? Echo.
Ecker, it's my
in
impression
Australia.
of what's her name, Omega.
He's doing a New Zealand accent.
Oh, because I was like, that's Tyler Perry goes to the Marvel universe. But no, it's like
Afternoon, Ecker. How you doing?
Hey, look, we saw an Echo trailer at D23, and it looked pretty cool.
It did look.
They were shooting some black and white footage of of indigenous
It was a
tribe
flashback.
battlefields. Looked really freaking cool.
And they were gonna power up Echo in the show.
Yeah.
According to some sources, that like she was gonna get some additional. She doesn't really have powers right now.
Right.
She's just like peak human. But they were gonna like power her up through like some ancestral powers via
Okay,
tattoos.
No way.
What?
Special powers from the ancestral plane?
Yeah.
When has Marvel done that before? Get some new ideas. Get some new ideas.
Do you think it's possible that they're since they haven't really like put out a poster or a trailer with like a date on it, that they're thinking maybe we'll hold Echo if in 6 months we're not going to have any content because of the strike?
I don't know if holding Echo to some time
Helps.
later is really
Really
going to help.
good idea.
Well, my only thought
people
would
aren't
be
excited.
just the way that Feige seems to be pretty masterful at like figuring out a tie-in to something. So if it's like, oh, we'll use the Echo character for like Thunderbolts or something
Right.
like that.
And
Or
Echo
Daredevil.
is going to feature some Kingpin and Daredevil possibly.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing. Like, you're getting Kingpin in Daredevil Born Again, which is like 18 episodes. Why are we concerned about Kingpin and Echo? Because of the last thing we saw in Hawkeye. It just, some of the things don't add up. I understand if you're going to power up, boost up, whatever. But it's just like a whole series of, I didn't really care. All right, you know what?
Well, I mean,
was it
there's
just
two
that-
sides of the argument where it's like,
He's right.
I want to know who this character is and I want to understand the motivations.
They'll be okay.
It'll be okay.
That'll be fine.
But
Sorry, but you're saying.
if you have like, they introduce characters and you're like, I have no idea who this character is, right? I want to know their motivations. I want to know their backstory. Well, they'll offer you a series. You don't have to watch it if you don't want to. But
Or you can watch
there's
it
a way
and
to do
complain
it.
like people will do, like they do every
I mean,
Yeah,
True.
I think your point is good, Brandon. Like it's like, yeah, you can watch it or not. Like it's
Yeah.
no one's like, well, if you don't watch Echo, you're gonna have no idea.
And if Echo's important for Daredevil Born Again,
Yeah.
and they put out this show and they made a 1 or 2 episode arc that was just Echo, everyone would be like, "Why are they putting so much Echo in my Daredevil show?" And because I think we're seeing. There's been some limited success with the Marvel series. Some we really like, some we.
That was a great John Costa impression, by the way.
Thank you.
He hates when they have female characters in the MCU.
Oh, John, he loses his mind. How
No,
dare
John loves the female characters of the MCU.
That's not what he texts me late at night when he's drinking.
They've had some success and some limited success with these series. I think one of the best proofs of concept we see coming up is this Marvel's movie where you have the Miss Marvel character, Kamala Khan, and like we have a series which explains her origin, and they do not have to do it in the movie. They're probably going to do it quickly in the movie just to bring everyone up to speed. But I think that's a good proof of concept of these shows are here to give you backstory and relevance to characters, and then we can feature them in movies without spending time in a movie with a rushed origin. Jay, you have your hand raised.
I've always said this. We, as consumers, watchers, viewers, are our own worst enemy. Mm-hmm. Instead of just letting the movies bend the movies, well, why did they give us a show with a backstory to this or this, that, and the third? Tell us what's happening in between time. And we get all of this because that's what all these series are, the in-between to movies. And instead of just being like, oh, this ties, I've always said it, instead of saying this ties into this, it ties into that, it's like, oh, this one thing is terrible, so the whole MCU is trash.
Right.
It's like, that's not how this works. Now, granted, some people like Secret Invasion, some people didn't. Some people liked Hawkeye, some people didn't. And now you're getting a series where a lot of people just were like, is this a thing? But then you're getting Kingpin, and you're like, oh, I'm getting more D'Onofrio before I get him in Daredevil. So it's gonna keep being that way no matter what.
But do you think, And I know I've been the big proponent of release series 1 episode per week. That's how you build audience enthusiasm around it. Do you think that releasing it all at once might actually behoove a story, not a show, but a story like Echo? Because if you were to do Werewolf by Night as a 6-episode series, do you think people would turn on it?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think Echo may have a similar thing going for
this
it.
could
People
be
really
smart,
appreciate it all at once. It's just kind of a limited run. What is it, 4, 6 episodes?
I think it's 6.
Yeah, I think 6 is the least.
And then people can kind of binge it, and the binge model speaks to people who have just a specific individual attachment to a title.
Yeah.
Who don't want to share it with the masses and the water cooler conversation.
Right.
Maybe a show like Echo isn't meant for the water cooler mainstream 4-quadrant audience. It's just meant for specific people to consume on their own time.
I mean, that's
while
kind of
their
what
uncle's
comic
yelling.
books are, right? Like, comic books are like, that's why there's so many comic books. Some people want to read Hawkman. Some people don't want to read Hawkman, and they don't have to. You can understand the Justice League without reading an individual issue of Hawkman. So
What is your problem with Hawkman?
I don't want to say out loud. No.
Tommy's gonna own a comic book shop. It's gonna be 2 sections: Hawkman, non-Hawkman.
Yeah. And then if you walk into the Hawkman section, I'm going to be like this.
Look at you
The
starting.
Hawkman section is a door that opens to the freeway.
It's like the old porno section in the video
Yeah,
store
yeah, yeah.
behind the curtain and everything.
It's
yeah.
the moon door from Game of Thrones. Make him fly! I want to see him fly, mommy!
But Eric, I think you have a great point because when they put out She-Hulk, they put it out 1 episode at a time, right? But they sent out a screener pack that was the first 4 episodes.
Yes.
And so a lot of people from the press saw it, and like you could watch 4 episodes at once, which I think really helped a show like that.
Because it got the word out.
When they dropped Android and they gave you 3 episodes at once to give you a little arc to get going, that really helped. Because if it had just been 1 at a time, you'd been like, man, this is a long slog. But I think this is a good experiment for them. I don't always agree with the drop it all at once model, but I think if you're telling a very contained story like that, allowing someone to just binge through it is helpful. And especially if like part of the gimmick is, oh, there's Kingpin in this. You know, I think what really hurt She-Hulk was when they were like, Daredevil's in this show in episode 9. And they didn't say episode 9. They made you wait all the way till episode 9, week after week. And you're like, if they just dropped it all at once and you're like, oh, you get to Daredevil in a few hours, like, great.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Eric. This is the only one they've done that with, though.
Right.
This will be the first and only one. So I think that's the biggest thing, too. Every single MCU show has been weekly, no matter what. I always go back to saying WandaVision brought back must-see TV.
Yeah.
You know, when they first did it with WandaVision. This is the first one they'll do that's the whole season. So it's
going to be definitely a change of pace for people. Like, we might be onto something here by saying, like, some of these shows should have been all at once drops. Maybe She-Hulk would have done better if it was just all at once, and the people who were really into seeing She-Hulk could just spend their weekends watching about it and talking about it among their like-minded friends. Whereas shows like Loki, WandaVision, they're built for the masses. They're built for you to connect with strangers online. Yeah. But now I'm coming into the thought that maybe instead of just all at once drops, just do it as a special presentation. Don't do it as 4 episodes. Echo maybe should have been a special presentation.
Yeah.
Moon Knight, maybe a special presentation.
I agree with that. Moon Knight definitely should have been one. I had so much hope for Moon Knight, and then after episode 1, I was like, this is going to be rough. I'll admit it. I was like, this is going to be rough. Because the way, if you know the character and then you're watching it, and I understand, yes, you cannot translate complete comic book pages to screen. However, when it comes to that particular character, you're like, this is not what I think it's going to be. And this is going to be a long journey.
That was a long, It took a while to get to, I think, the main crux of that show.
Yeah. It was tough. I mean, this isn't a Moon Knight review show, but I will say it was like for just a very narrow audience who like really loved Moon Knight, and tonally it just shifted very quickly from being an Indiana Jones thing, but a very low budget, poorly produced Indiana Jones adventure, to being like an unclear of itself dissociative identity disorder exploration, but doing so in a way that never really gave us any firm answers of what was real. Like when they were going through that tomb, it was so bizarre and removed from reality.
Dealing with like afterlives.
We don't know how we got out of Alexander's tomb. We don't know how they get in and out of the Duat versus the, I don't know. There's still a lot of issues with Moon Knight, and I don't know if they'll ever be resolved. Will it? Anyway, but I'm going to say that's our issues. I think our uncertainties are in Echo. Yeah. Yes, there are some people who are like, I don't want Echo. I don't want this kind of thing. I can't speak for them, but I can speak for people who maybe feel a bit of fatigue with some Marvel storylines about characters that aren't really going to fit in the overall picture and are just trying to tell individual journeys and trying to get everyone on pace with those the way that we're on pace with Loki and
And
Marvel.
if you want a second Moon Knight viewing experience, check out Poon Knight with Brie Olsen.
Oh no.
It's incredible.
Oh no.
It's
Tommy.
incredible.
Tommy.
And it's Poon Knight and his
Tommy,
and his
no.
moon
No,
gun
I'm
cocks
serious.
you.
Tommy, what? No.
I was gonna be serious for 30 seconds.
I didn't create this content.
Tommy.
Gifted actress
Tommy.
Brie Olsen
Tommy.
brought the character to life.
Tommy, put your head down.
Tommy,
There you
no.
go. All right,
Tommy,
just stay
no.
I will say this one thing though, on a serious end with Echo, because this is a thing, this is real. As a black man, representation.
Yes.
She is a very good representation for the hearing impaired and the indigenous community. So yes, this is definitely a big thing in regard to that. I will absolutely acknowledge that. Now, will her story carry on to where we really ride with her story? That's to be told. But again, giving us all 6 episodes at once, you can look, this was either for me or not. Because this way it can be either done and over with. This is, like you said, it's not going to be a water cooler talk, everything's just, I watched it, I liked it, I watched it, I didn't.
What if it's incredible?
I hope it is.
I hope it is.
Dude,
I
that
hope it
trailer
is.
looks so good.
I hope people eat
and
their
I
words.
think, and I think that's kind of the concern is that they've never done this before. So it feels like, are they just bailing
It
on the
does,
show?
yeah. Because
Like,
of the
they haven't given us a good
unprecedented.
reason as to why they're going to do this, other than just say they're doing this, and they've
There's
never
been
done it
no
before.
transparency.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
been no
no.
vision. There's no transparency with how many people are actually watching these shows. That's why people are on strike. It's insane
Right.
how we're just getting titles dropped at random times of year, and we have no idea what the big game
Yeah.
plan is. Other than 5 years from now, they'll culminate in Avengers: Secret Wars.
Yeah.
We'll be dead.
Did you guys want to say anything more about Deadpool?
No, I think it'll definitely get delayed.
I think you know that.
And I think Marvel's going to be as precious as they can with that property because it's their. I think it's besides Loki, maybe their next kind of guaranteed home run. I think everyone's very excited about it, and there's a lot of anticipation, and there's a lot of buildup for it.
I think we'll have to wait to see what happens with the strikes. I mean, look, Fran is kind of like, we will do this till the end of time.
Right.
And they should. That needs to be your position. That's the only way you're going to get their attention and
Yeah.
force them back to the table. But I think if some kind of agreement can be ironed out, I think then they can probably finish. But they'll have to have it, locked by January, February?
If they want it out by next summer,
They can work on
or next
VFX
May.
right now.
Yeah.
Also, here's why it behooves the studios to get it done. You have to pay all these actors to stay on board this project. Even though there's no work going on, you still have to pay them to just be held. There's a holding fee for all these actors for Ryan Reynolds, even though he is a producer on it as well. There's a holding fee. There's a holding fee for Hugh Jackman and all these other. Granted, because interim agreements are happening with some of these studios, with these smaller studios. So you have some actors, they're like, oh, I can do this little project right quick. And now what happens if they go to do this other little project and then just out of the blue, the strike is over? We're not saying it's going to happen that way.
Right.
But it could. These little things can. So it behooves the studios to get this done and make this happen where it's like, yo, get this stuff out here. But also, what happens if Deadpool gets an interim agreement somehow?
I was gonna say let's make it an indie movie. Get the Daniels involved.
What happens if
The
Ryan
Daniels do
Reynolds
Deadpool.
says somehow I got a bunch of people that'll finance this for me on the back end?
I mean, Ryan Reynolds
that's
could
all
pay
it-
for the movie himself if he wanted to.
I mean, he could, but that's technically what these interim agree for those who don't understand.
But Disney's not going to make that deal.
Well, here's the deal. Netflix seems like the holdout, right? Netflix,
Yep.
Amazon.
I think
It's a tech company.
The streaming onlys who stand to lose the most by giving up their numbers
Yes, it's the tech company.
are holding out. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think Disney, of all the different big studios that have streaming platforms, I feel like Disney would be the proudest of its streaming platform. It's probably Comcast. It's like, no one's actually subscribed to Peacock.
Right.
Please never force them to tell us, to tell the world. But Disney, I mean, Mandalorian's been a big hit.
Yeah.
We know because we can see Google Analytics. We can see performance on our channel based off of the Disney shows. I think a lot of people
I think
are
most
watching.
families with kids have a Disney Plus
Yeah,
account.
yeah.
I think it's Hulu they're worried about.
That's
might
why
be
they're
a
trying
little-
to
They own
sell it
part of
off.
Hulu, they're
And that's
trying to
why
get
they're
rid
trying to
of it.
sell it off.
Yeah. Well, they might also be trying to sell it off so that they can sell to Apple, so Apple can buy Disney. You heard these rumors that Apple might buy Disney?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah,
I've heard it.
But I mean, that's a bit further
Max?
down the road. I think it's possible that you do see Disney be the first big studio. I mean, Sony's probably going to be the first one because they don't
Yeah.
have a streaming platform. But of the ones that have streaming, I think Disney might be the first to force the others to come to the table.
Well, and any studio is welcome to walk away from the AMPTP and
true.
make their own deal.
Yeah.
I could see Iger doing that I could see him being like, all right, we're gonna do our own thing then, and then whatever. I mean, he did make the most crass statements as well, so he's been a bit of a wild card.
And really,
Because
this
he wasn't
turned-
talking to us. He was talking to Wall Street and the stock investors.
that's true.
Stockbrokers and the investors.
And their stock is still down, so it's,
Yeah, and I think Iger, I don't know, I might be a bit out of my depth here, but I think he's already said, look, our strategy has not been working. So if he comes out and says, look, actually, no one really watched Secret Invasion, no one really watched Hawkeye, I think they'd be like, oh, that's why he's, like, it wouldn't be like a change of course for him, as it would be for some of these other studio heads who have only been, saying good news, good news, good news.
right.
Yeah. Well, and if anything, it doesn't hurt. They're always going to make these Marvel movies. Like, it's always going to be part of it. What I'm concerned about are these other smaller movies, and original ideas that aren't going to get a chance because, these studios are holding out for so long. And part of the problem was they hired the AMPTP to do the negotiating for them. Like, Iger hasn't been talking to anyone. Like, none of these studios are talking to anyone. They're talking through this organization whose one job was to not give up. And to just hold
That
out.
CEO Groot chat been lit.
They've been on
Just all
the.
the Homer Simpson going into the bush. Yeah.
Especially after our pick at Universal last week.
my
That
God.
CEO Groot chat been lit.
They're worried on their
phones out.
yachts.
They have their glasses on, like, Bobby Jr., come help me out with this.
Is he making a graphic, Daddy?
Now I got you subscribed to Disney Plus finally.
Uncle Bob Chapek says we're going out to the desert.
Speaking of taking small children out to the woodshed, I Am Groot, season 2. This one took us by surprise. This one took us by surprise. Did anyone even know this show was getting a sequel?
No.
Or
It's not a
It's not a
show.
show.
It's-
This series of shorts was getting a sequel.
We knew that a sequel would be coming. None of us expected it would be this soon.
They probably filmed all of this with season 1. Think about it. All of this was probably already season 1. They just chopped it in half.
There was a story that like Disney remember What If season 1 missed an episode. There was an episode that didn't get released. And part of the rumors were that like they just were so behind the ball on it, they didn't get it finished in time. That kind of makes sense that like I Am Groot season 1 was double the length.
Yeah.
And they just did not finish it.
Oh,
And they were like,
They just-
put out what we got.
Well, we got these 4 or 5 episodes.
Because he's still a kid, he's still a baby Groot, basically.
If it's still Baby Groot, this is literally the back half
I
of those
want
episodes.
Teen Groot smoking weed.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, Groot.
yeah. Getting into trouble. That's the show I want. I want my so-called Groot, dude. That's what I want.
Thunderbird.
My so-called Groot.
He's like, I've never looked at another Groot's twig before. I think I'm willing to experiment.
Fascinating.
Fascinating.
Now,
stuff.
since now that we understand Groot, we know
Yeah,
exactly.
we understand Groot now. We can hear everything Groot's saying now.
Look at those acorns.
Wow.
Am I ever gonna get moss down there? I don't know.
Got some big feet.
I'm full of sap. I got a juice. I got a juice.
All my sap's coming hard, baby.
Someone put on a Brie Olsen tape. I need a juice.
Stop.
I need this
No,
redwood to
no,
go.
Tommy, it's Tree Olsen
Brie Olsen.
for Groot.
Have you seen Sequoia? She's in the woods.
My God.
Oh no. Oh no.
You ever seen a redwood in a Nigerian forest?
I have not. Show me.
You-
So yeah, they kind of took us by surprise with this I Am Groot season 2.
Yeah.
The show's going to be canon still.
Yes.
Going to involve some canon moments. We know the Watcher's going to be in it, which is very exciting. Does that mean like there's something bigger on the horizon for this, or is this just more fun little Easter egg stuff to fill in the time?
All right, well, I can tell you one thing. That action figure is not Steve Rogers. It is a Nova Corps pilot, and I screwed that up in a video, and I feel like a big dumb idiot. But yeah, I think the fact that they put the Watcher in it, the fact that the Watcher looks like this, I don't know. It's as interconnected as the episodes of What If were, and we felt the same way going into What If. We're like,
Well, they told
there's
us
no
What
way-
If was like its own thing.
It's its own thing. It's an anthology. These aren't going to connect. And then as that season went on, it started to connect in this really seamless way. And it was really cool by the ending of that season. So I think this could easily dovetail into that.
Right.
And I think this is just one step toward getting a live action Jeffrey Wright Watcher, which I think would be dope
Yes.
in the MCU to have like a
insane.
live action Jeffrey
with
Wright.
that big ass head. With that absolute big ass head.
Well, I mean, he could even be CGI
right.
With that
Right.
big ass head.
with that huge head.
No, you gotta say big ass
With
head.
that big ass head.
There you go.
and his mother's womb destroyed by that big ass head.
Come on, Tommy.
I just let it go.
Tommy.
You know, it's like the Grand Canyon was created by an asteroid,
I'm out.
Is that true?
and it remains here.
No. I thought it was created by
Erosion?
Yeah, glaciers moving
Nope,
across.
it was created by an asteroid. Don't
It
look
was
it up.
created by a
Don't
Brit-
look it up.
By a Brie Olsen scene.
It was.
An asteroid came
It came all right.
the size of the Grand Canyon.
It was a canyon.
plummeted into Earth.
It
Hit the
plummeted
ground
deeply.
and scooted. And
It
a weird-
scooted all the way across.
The Grand Canyon was created by an asteroid. I rest my case. Don't Google it.
Oh, okay.
What's everyone think?
Okay. Technically, Tommy, it would be created by a meteorite. It's an asteroid when it's in space. It's
You
a
ever
meteor
correct
when
me
it
on-
enters the atmosphere, and it's a meteorite once it hits the
Frankenstein
ground.
was the name of the
Yeah, I
scientist.
think not the monster.
It's Dr. Frankenstein is the name of the scientist.
Yep.
You're fucking ants at a picnic today, Brandon.
Yep, that's what you are, buddy.
All right, what if season 2 for X-Men 97, guys?
Yeah, these are other two animated properties from Marvel that we expected to see this year. We hoped. There was a weird thing almost a year ago, right, where like some Marvel account for South America, I think, put out a calendar that was like, "What if
Oh,
season 2 coming
yes,
January
yeah.
2023?"
Yeah.
And then that obviously did not happen.
Yes, we've passed that date.
We have passed that date. Do you think we will get either of these shows at least starting by December?
I
of
really
this
want
year?
X-Men 97.
I do
I know
too.
it seems like it's been done for a while, or at least done to some degree. Frank Moran, call in if you know. Let us know.
They showed character stills at Comic-Con 2 years ago. This year at Comic-Con, they showed clips. They've not put out a trailer or anything.
No.
But that show is done. It's got to be done.
I think they want to be able to promote it, and I think the hard thing is with the SAG strike because again,
Yeah.
you can't have the actors in front of the camera promoting. Granted, with animation, you can. The rules of what we can and can't do with SAG actors is really weird.
And it kind of feels like to me, and Jay, maybe you would know better. It feels like everyone's just saying no out of an abundance of precaution.
Sure. Yes.
Because it's like there's no nuance on social media. So if someone is working under a legal contract, promotes an animated thing, 50,000
scab,
people are still going to call them a scab on
Yeah.
Twitter, and then anyone who doesn't do any sort of their, not to be this guy, their own research will I mean, in this case, which would actually value them or behoove them, they'll be like, oh yeah, that guy crossed the picket line, or that lady crossed the picket line, when in actuality they didn't, which is why basically, like, you know, a lot of us aren't attending any events, even if they are not promotional events. It's like there's just no reason to get caught up in it, right? There's no,
Yeah, I think X-Men might be a title that they're holding on to for 2024 because they know that will get a lot of people to subscribe to Disney Plus.
Yeah.
It seems like it is done. Do they really rely on voice actors to promote animated titles? Like, it seemed like TMNT would have been the only thing that they really lost was Seth Rogen to promote.
Well,
it.
especially
It's not like
I
those
think
kids were going to help.
Especially I think because, well, I mean the
Jackie Chan,
mutant
maybe.
Yeah,
cast.
Paul Rudd,
and all
Paul
that.
Rudd.
yeah.
Yeah, but can you think of like an animated title that, like, I think of What If? Like, What If had a huge lineup of actors.
Sure.
None of them went around promoting
Right.
What If.
Well,
But
and I
you're
thi-
bringing
I-
something back.
And I think the fact that X-Men 97 is using a lot of the same voice actors to reprise those roles is interesting, but I agree with you, Eric. I don't think necessarily anyone was like, oh, the original Rogue is coming back, which she is. But, you know, I don't think, I can't even remember her name.
Yeah, and like Invincible's a good example. They didn't. Season 1 had a ton of celebrities involved, and they didn't use them to promote that
Yeah,
show.
it kind of
at
seems
all.
like they used the chief animator. You know, Robert Kirkman would
Right.
go around to promote Invincible, and I mean, I do remember Jeffrey Wright going out there for What If. Like, he came out at Comic-Con,
Yeah.
but they didn't get like Chris Evans. Well, Chris Evans didn't do a voice on it, right?
Right.
So,
yeah, somebody else did. Josh Keaton.
Yeah, he
Josh
did.
Keaton did it.
Yeah, Skinny Steve. Yeah, so I don't know, but I do think that could be. I agree with you guys. That's the one I'm most excited for of the Marvel animated shows, more than Spider-Man Freshman Year or What If Season 2 or Marvel Zombies. That's one that I feel like that's their ace in the hole. That's the break the glass if in need of emergency.
And I think holding it to be closer to Deadpool 3 makes sense also, if that's going to be a show that involves a lot of mutants and like the X-Men
Yeah,
in
for
some
sure,
weird
for
way.
sure.
They might want it closer to that.
And
so
they might have some interesting cameos in X-Men 97, right? Like voice cameos.
They could.
Maybe some crossovers from maybe the first, you know, X-Men MCU crossovers will exist in that show. We don't know.
I think that's a movie too, like Deadpool 3, where you have the live action and animated in a weird Who
yeah,
Framed
they have a
Roger
moment.
Rabbit kind of way. I know like Across the Spider-Verse had clips of the live action people, but I want to see
mean, you got a live action
cartoon interacting with
You got Donald Glover.
Donald Glover was
Well, yeah.
there, right
Yeah,
next
you
to him.
Yeah, you got Donald Glover right there. I think that's what it is. I think too, Deadpool, because again, we've heard of what some of like the plot. His world is going away, and he's gonna kill the Fox universe. And part of the Fox universe was X-Men '97.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so maybe he visits it real quick, or he sees it, and just that little bitty thing. But you know,
Maybe.
it's just possibilities. Who knows? We just throw it in the air.
I hope they give us one of the animated shows this year
For Christmas.
for Christmas, in addition to I Am Groot season 2,
Yeah.
the show we all begged for. Begged for.
I hope there's more surprises.
More surprises. So how do you feel about the state of the MCU? Are we all going to be okay?
I think the strikes.
Is it gonna survive?
We need to resolve the strikes, and then I
Right.
can worry more about it.
Right. Absolutely. And you know what? Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Remember, we used to have to wait like 8 months between Marvel things?
Yep.
It's hard to run a YouTube channel that covers Marvel.
Well, you got to wait 8 months.
We'll figure it out.
Hey,
guys.
What's our,
there's-
we got Ahsoka coming.
There's always 200 episodes of Star Wars: The Next Generation to be broken down, right? Dashel, he's not here, but if he was, he'd like it.
Star Wars: The Next Generation.
Star Trek. Sorry, guys.
I would watch Star Wars.
Brie
The Next
Olsen's in
Generation.
Star Wars: The Next Generation.
Okay, gotcha.
We also gonna follow you on Instagram and be like, "Hey, Tommy."
Sure, he follows me. She went to Second City.
Well, that's it for us today here on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to the Breakroom channel right here on YouTube.
And
give
thanks
us-
again, everybody on YouTube. We really appreciate it because we got to spend a lot of time with those just completely disgusting Twitch watchers.
Dear Lord.
Hate it.
If you want to be one of those disgusting Twitch watchers, give us a follow on Twitch, where we do these videos live. You can see how the sausage gets made. But that's it for us today. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll catch you next time. Laters, guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.